I win the lottery and wife immediately has this clever idea of divorcing me to take me out for all of my money, but her smug look changes at the court when she realized she made this big mistake because screw getting any lottery money, I'm taking everything she has. So, 3 months ago I won the lottery. It was a total fluke. I usually don't even buy lottery tickets, but the one time that I did I ended up winning. I thought I got lucky, but by the end of the week I wasn't feeling so lucky because my wife decided to file for a divorce literally days later. We were going through a very rough patch and we've been fighting for the last couple of months. She'd been pretty vicious, and I've been finding it very hard to deal with her. The root of all the problems was that her parents are both retired now, and for the past few years, they had been completely reliant on us for money. Both of them were high school teachers in their time, and a few years before their retirement, they made some bad investments, so they lost a lot of their savings. Now it's not like they don't have any savings at all, but it's not substantial, and so my wife had been getting me to help her out. A huge chunk of our combined income every month went to her parents, and until recently I was fine with it. We'd been together for 5 years and married for 3, and for 3 years I've been doing this for her parents. They are nice people, so I didn't mind it at first, but earlier this year my wife and I had our first child, so that's why I wanted to cut down on the amount that we had been sending her parents, because raising a child can be pretty expensive, and also I think it's about time that we started putting aside money for our future as well. And we are finding it very difficult to do that, what with maintaining our own lifestyle, raising a child, and also sending money to her parents. So I brought it up with her a couple of months ago and suggested that maybe we could reduce the amount a little. But she was outraged at the idea and we ended up fighting about it. We made up later, but a couple of weeks after that, when I tried to talk to her about it again, she fled up again. So this had been going on for quite some time, and each time we made things up for the sake of our daughter, but this time she took things way too far. We were already in a fight when I received the news that I had won the lottery, and just because I was really happy I decided to go to her and tell her about it, even though we hadn't been speaking to each other for a couple of days by then. But I thought that this would cheer both of us up and break the ice. Instead, she didn't even bother to acknowledge the happy news and just nodded and went back to what she was doing. That was really upsetting, but I didn't know it was going to get worse. The next day she told me she was going to visit her parents with our daughter for a breather, but she never came back from that visit. Instead, I found myself blocked 3 days later when I tried to contact her, and a few more days later I was served with divorce papers. In the meantime, I had tried to visit her at her parents' place, but every time I went they pretended not to be at home and let me ring the doorbell, knock and call out to them and make a complete fool out of myself for several minutes before I finally gave up and went back. So it's not like I hadn't tried, but she was not willing to give me a chance because she had made up her mind and she had decided that for her, the lottery money was more important than fighting for our marriage. In the terms of the petition, she had made it very clear that she wanted 75% of my winnings as maintenance. It's like everything that I had done for her and her family over the past many years just went straight out the window, and 75% of my winnings is a significant amount. So, I understood what it was that she was after. And after receiving the papers, I decided not to fight for her anymore and fight against her instead. She had made up her mind what she wanted to do, and so had I. So, I took a couple of days, spoke to a couple of divorce attorneys, and went with the most successful and naturally expensive person, but at least I was sure that he would be able to get me out of this. At first, we tried mediating the situation with a court-appointed mediator, but she was not willing to negotiate. She and her lawyer made it seem like I owed it to her just because I have a daughter with her and because she makes less money than me, as if that's my fault. After a few weeks, we decided to go to court with this because she was so confident that she was going to have it her way. But my lawyer and I had prepared well, and within a few hearings we were able to establish that all her accusations of me being emotionally unavailable for her, of constantly tormenting her mentally and all that jazz was nothing but a bunch of BS that she and her lawyer had come up with, to turn the situation in her favor so that she would be able to walk away with the money that she did not deserve. Once that was done, it was quite easy to put out the truth of the situation, and now if the tide turns in my favor, she will lose literally everything that she has staked the claim to. The house is going to come to me, both the cars are going to come to me, and she will also have to return a bunch of the jewelry that she received at the wedding because a lot of those are family heirlooms. On top of that, because she doesn't make less money than me, only a little, even the alimony is going to be less than what she wants. Currently, she's trying to plead the fact that she needs to help her parents, so at least the alimony amount needs to be bigger. But my lawyer and I believe that for the past 3 years we've been sending them a lot of money every month, so it's quite impossible that they haven't been able to save anything out of that. And since they probably have, I'm sure that they will be able to take care of themselves now financially since their savings have increased. Anyway, we still have a few weeks to go before we can come to a decision about any of this, but my parents want me to back off. They want me to let her have a bigger alimony simply because they feel bad for my in-laws. I tried to tell them that in spite of everything that I had been doing for them, they did not help me when I was trying to get her back. So I don't feel any guilt about it, and I think that she deserves all of this. But they don't agree with me. So AITA for taking away everything from my soon-to-be ex-wife, although she needs to help her parents. Edit. Okay, so the house had been a wedding gift to me from my parents and grandparents. So legally speaking, it's in my name. My car is also entirely mine. I paid for it myself, and I bought her car as well on her birthday last year. But the title is in my name since we never bothered to get it changed. That's why we are fighting for all of this, because I purchased both the cars with my hard-earned money, and the house was a gift to me from my family. I don't want to let it go away to her. I know that it's all supposed to be gifts and stuff, but I don't care about that right now. As for the jewelry, it's pretty clear why I wanted it back. It's supposed to be heirlooms and she's not family. Update 1. Hey, thank you so much for all the reassurance and comments. I've spoken to my parents. It's been a couple of days since my post, and I've told them that I don't like the fact that they're being so soft right now because it feels insensitive to me. I told them that I didn't like the fact that they were trying to make me feel guilty for standing up for myself because it's not like I hadn't given her a chance. But she got greedy. She wanted everything, and she was even ready to make me the bad guy in court just because she wanted 75% of my winnings, something that she didn't even deserve. I told them to try and look at the situation from my point of view and they would understand how terrible it felt and why I was doing all this. And they told me that they did empathize with me, which is why they haven't said anything about the house or the cars or the jewelry, but only about the alimony. They tried to tell me that I had a child with this woman so I could at least forgive her for that reason and be a little lenient, but I reminded them that she was taking child support as well. And that was for our daughter, so I didn't have to think about that part otherwise. They still did not seem very satisfied, so I decided to have a proper chat with them about this. I told them exactly how terrible I had been feeling about everything for the past couple of months, how we had been fighting so often, but in spite of that I had always tried to make it work. Never once did I think that I was going to leave her because I loved her so much. But for her all it took was me winning the lottery. I told them that she literally left the very next day and then she stopped responding to me. Even now, the only time we have interacted is when she's been handing over our daughter to me for the weekends, and I know that's a formality as well because she doesn't want to paint her as a bad guy in court. She hasn't even had the decency to look me in the eye and give me an explanation for everything, and after so many years having been together, I think that's pretty hurtful and disrespectful. Especially considering the fact that I had done so much for her parents and even they turned their backs on me when it was time to help me out. They did not send her back and told her that she should try and work things out with me instead of leaving and trying to get all my money. They were actually supportive of her in all of this, so why should I take pity on them? While I was talking to them, I accidentally ended up crying a bit because for so many weeks I had been holding it all together. But saying it all out loud made me realize just how hurtful all of this was. And when I started crying, my parents immediately started comforting me, telling me that they hadn't been thinking straight and that they really didn't want to hurt me like this. They acknowledged the fact that they had been going a little too soft, and I had a point. They let me cry for a couple of minutes because I really need to get all of this out. After I was done crying, I felt a lot lighter because honestly I hadn't spoken about this for a pretty long time. It's not like my friends didn't know they did, but I was trying not to bring it up too often because I didn't want this to become my entire personality until it was over. I was just trying to keep myself busy, so I didn't end up talking about this too much because talking about this meant thinking about it and it all hurt. I didn't even want to bring it up with my parents, and of course I couldn't speak to my daughter about it. So I was just keeping it all together within myself and trying not to think about it, but I guess that took its toll on me as well. The truth is, no matter how much I want to hate her right now, it's impossible because at one point I did love her and that wasn't even that long ago. It feels a long time ago, but I know for a fact that it wasn't. And now I feel like my life has gone upside down and I'm finding it very difficult to deal with it at the moment. Every time that I think about the divorce and how ugly it's all become, I just feel like switching my brain off and never thinking about it again. Unfortunately, this is the reality, and I cannot run away from it. The only thing I can do is deal with it, and that's what I've been trying to do, but it's difficult. And I guess my parents telling me that what I was doing was not right was kind of a last straw for me because this is the last thing that I needed. Anyway, I'm glad that I spoke to them about it because I really needed some support right now. And I think if I had chosen not to talk to them and just cut them off over this, I would have probably regretted it. But anyway, we were able to talk things through. They apologized to me for stressing me out and told me that they were here for me always. So that was really helpful for me. Right now, I have no idea what's going to happen in court, what the decision is going to be, and if I'm even going to get what I want or not. Even though things seem to be in my favor, we can still never be a 100% sure until it's all done. I'm very stressed out about that right now, and I know that my lawyer is pretty great, but in spite of that, I just can't wait for the verdict to be out because right now it's all messing with my head. And as long as the proceedings are going on, I don't think I'll be able to forget the fact that all this is happening just because my wife decided that she wanted to leave me because I won the lottery and she wanted the bigger part of it. Update 2. Okay, so it's been a few weeks since my last update and we had another hearing yesterday. It went pretty well, but my wife and her lawyer were able to extend this whole thing by another week. We are getting closer to the end though. I'm pretty sure that they won't be able to drag it out any longer. Anyway, she came over in the evening to drop our daughter off, and as usual I thought that she was just going to go away as soon as our daughter was with me. But this time she started lingering and I was forced to ask her if there was anything that she had to say. It was really cold and awkward, but I could tell that there was something going on. And she told me that she would really love to come inside and have a chat with me about everything that was happening. I was shocked, but I still let her in. Luckily, our daughter was already napping, so I just put her down in her crib and we got to talking. She apologized for everything in the beginning and then said that she was there to try and negotiate with me in person. Apparently, she had been losing feelings for me for a while now because of how much we had been fighting. And when I told her about the lottery, she started feeling even more annoyed because she had expected me to say that now we could stop fighting because we would have enough money now, and I wouldn't have to crib about the money that we were sending her parents. But I didn't say any of that, and throughout that night, she just kept feeling more and more angry with me. So the next morning, she'd already made up her mind about what she was going to do, and that's what she did. But now she thinks that it was a huge mistake and she wanted to tell me that I didn't deserve any of that. She acknowledged the fact that she had screwed up and said that she had been acting selfishly and was pretty cruel about the entire situation. So she wouldn't blame me if I did not think about her and her parents, but even then she wanted to take her chances and just try to get me to consider increasing the alimony amount because it would be very helpful for her and her parents. She's already been losing out on a lot of money by covering the expenses of the lawyer. And after this, she's gonna have to live with her parents permanently and probably also buy a new car. So she already has a lot of things to worry about for the future. She just doesn't want to add money to it as well. So she was finally here to negotiate, and I knew that this was going to happen at some point. I had mentally prepared myself for it, and I instantly told her that none of this would even be happening if she didn't get in the first place. But unfortunately, that's how it all happened. And right now, I do not have any sympathy to spare for her or her parents. Just like they didn't think about me when they were blocking me out before the divorce. The most I could do for her was tell her that it was going to get better, but apart from that I was not going to change anything. I thought that she was going to fight with me, but instead she just started crying and saying that we had spent so many years together. It was unbelievable that our relationship was coming to an end like this. I couldn't tell if those were real tears or crocodile ones, but I didn't want to be insensitive, so I just didn't say anything. I didn't even try to comfort her because I had shed my fair share of tears by now and nobody had been here to comfort me apart from my family and friends. So I let her cry for a couple of minutes and then she told me that if not for her and her parents, the least I could do was think about our daughter together, and that's why I should increase the alimony. But then I told her that I was already sending child support for her. I don't think I need to do any more. She tried to argue, saying that it was not a significant amount, and I said that that was not my problem because it was what had been agreed upon. Besides, she makes just a little less money than me. So it's quite weird to expect me to cover everything, especially when she can totally maintain the standards of her living on her own with the alimony that I'll be paying. What she's really upset about is that she won't be getting 75% of my winnings like she had planned on and won't be able to live by that standard. She'll have to stick to whatever she has been used to so far, and that's what her real grouse is. And I said this to her face. I didn't bother to hold back my opinions because I was getting really annoyed. She told me that I was being disgusting, that it was not like that at all, but she was fooling no one. Things got pretty heated after that, and she called me a bunch of names and said that I was being heartless and cruel. She regretted even having bothered to come to me and negotiate with me in person just because her lawyer had suggested it. She said that I was always going to be the same stingy miser and nothing was going to change there, and she was glad that she was getting divorced now. I didn't bother to argue with her, and so she left, still cursing me. I was just glad that I got it over with, and I did not bend to her because I was done doing that for all the years of our marriage. That's exactly what I had been doing. And the one time I tried to reason with her, she couldn't even take that well. I will never be able to forget the fact that the only reason I had suggested reducing the amount that we sent to her parents every month was for the sake of our daughter, and she got offended by that. And I don't think that I should forget about it either, because it just goes to show that it was not my fault. And even today I thought that I was going to go soft on her when she started crying, but that was only for a few seconds. I reminded myself of everything that she had done. All the guilt just flew right out the window. I know she was here to take advantage of the fact that she knows that I still might have a soft corner for her, but after today I think that's gone now. I wish I could say that after this whole divorce ends I'll be done with her, but we still have our daughter together, and since we have decided to co-parent her, I'm still gonna have to see her every weekend when she comes over to drop her off. It'll be a difficult and awkward process in the beginning, but I'm sure that we'll get used to it. And in all honesty, I just can't wait for my daughter to be a little older so I won't have to wait for the weekend to see her. Because when she is a little older, I plan on modifying the arrangement and making sure that she spends half the week with me, not just the weekend. There is still a long time to go before that though. So I guess I'll just have to make my peace with whatever is happening right now. Anyway, I do have my daughter with me right now and I am a little upset that I won't be able to give her the life that I fought. Because when she was born, I thought that we were going to have the perfect family, but all that was shattered as soon as I received the divorce papers. But even then, I'm going to try to give her the best life I can possibly arrange for her, and I'm going to make sure that her mother is never able to turn her against me or use her. I know it's a pretty morbid thought to have, but right now, I wouldn't put anything past that woman, especially after the way she tried to manipulate me today with her tears and everything. Anyway, I'm lucky that I didn't fall for any of it. Update 3. Hi. So I know I've been inactive for a couple of weeks, but it was the last phase of the divorce proceedings and I also had a lot of work to catch up on. So I was kind of busy, which is why I was not able to post. Anyway, the bottom line is that I got the divorce to go through on my terms and we are officially done now. The legal proceedings are all over and we are both finally free. After it was all done, she did not speak to me nor did she seem very happy about it, which was expected. Surprisingly, my in-laws reached out to me later on and sent me a text message saying that even though my relationship with their daughter had ended, they would still love to be a part of my life and wanted to invite me over for dinner. I knew that this was a manipulation tactic. So I politely declined, saying that I did not want to intrude on their family, especially because everything with regard to the divorce is still quite fresh, and I know that my ex-wife is living with them, so I don't want to make it weird by being there. They said that they insisted, but I still declined because regardless of how they were being right now, I was not going to let go of the fact that when it was time to actually help me out, they had turned their backs on me. They had pretended not to be at home when I tried to talk to my wife so I could sort things out with her. I was never going to forget about it. I was never going to forgive them for it either, so I declined seeing them and that was that. After that, the only time my ex-wife and I have interacted is when she comes over to drop off my daughter on the weekends, and she makes it as quick as possible, and I'm actually relieved that she does because I would hate for it to get awkward. Emotionally I'm still very raw, but I'm trying to move on. Of course I'm not dating, that's off the table for now. But I'm doing everything else to keep myself distracted and feel better about my life. My friends and family have been very helpful and supportive and I'm very grateful for that. Even at work things have been going quite well. So I guess that I can finally have a fresh start now. And the winnings are also going to get credited in just a couple of weeks. And I really hope that things work out well for me in the future. Update 4. Hi. So it's been 2 years since my last update and things have changed for the better now. Things have been going great at work, and after I received my lottery winnings, I decided to keep it all aside for my daughter's future. I don't think I'm going to be touching that unless there's some sort of emergency. Speaking of my daughter, I'm going to get more time with her because I'm finally modifying the arrangement, and there is no trouble with her mom either because I think this is going to work for her as well. She's going to spend half the week with me and the other half with her mom, and I'm also not going to have to pay alimony anymore because my ex-wife is getting remarried. That's right. I heard from a couple of common friends that she got engaged a couple of weeks ago and it had all been very hush-hush. But they finally announced it on Instagram earlier this week and apparently, they've only been together for a few months. So I thought this was a little rushed. I was kind of concerned about it because this man is going to be a part of my daughter's life as well. So I finally decided to talk to her about it. In the past couple of years we've rarely ever spoken to each other, but I thought this was necessary. It was awkward. But she reassured me that he was a good guy and it probably helped that he was heir to a fortune from his business tycoon dad, but that's none of my business, so I didn't say anything about it. I just told her that I wanted to meet him in person once, so she invited me over for dinner and he seemed chill. That was all that I needed to know, so I wished her luck for the future. I know I'm not going to be there for the wedding, neither do I want to be there. I just wanted to check him out for the sake of my daughter. I'm honestly happy for her. I'm glad that she's moving on with somebody more to her taste in a financial way. And I'm happy too. I don't think my life is all that bad. I'm grateful.